Hey, greetings and welcome, everyone. So, today, what I'm wanting to talk to you guys about is some of the practices that I've been learning and practicing over the last few years through these self mastery programs that I'm partaking in. One of the things that I want to talk to you about is your masculine and your feminine spirit and how to work with the masculine feminine spirit within. Ideally, what we're wanting to create within our being is a greater connection to our higher self and our divine presence, our spiritual essence that will inform us, guide us to the highest life path, the highest potential, and the highest fulfillment of our divine mission. Yeah. So that is a fantastic idea and a great concept, and we really want to make that happen. However, we have aspects of our personalities. We've called them subpersonalities before. There's lots of different aspects to talk about, but what we want to talk about specifically is the masculine spirit and the feminine spirit within our own being. The masculine spirit within our own being, the feminine spirit within our own being. Now, please excuse me for not being politically correct and being gender neutral with this. I'm just going to go with the information that I have here. So, the masculine spirit, when we're talking about it in this concept, the masculine spirit is the doer. The masculine spirit is the thinker, the mind. The masculine spirit is the one that builds and gets things done and is always moving the pieces, moving in their life. The feminine spirit within is the beer. She bees. She relaxes. She is the dreamer. She goes into meditation. She enjoys her sensuality. She is in connection to spirit. She's artistic or creative. She values beauty. Okay, so what we have in our society on the whole, and in general, I'm going to say, in general, particularly in the United States, we have an overvalue of the masculine aspects, of the masculine qualities of achieving, getting things done, doing, providing, building, accomplishing, all of that stuff. And an undervalue in general in society of the feminine spirit of creativity, the dreamer, the one who relaxes and plays and receives the data, receives the information, receives the channel, can go into the imaginal realm and get the new ideas, okay, is in connection to spirit. And so what we're wanting to do within ourself is bring balance back to the inner masculine spirit and the inner feminine spirit. Bring the balance back within our own being as an individual. And so to recognize within ourselves what's up front, what is going on up front. Are we in a phase, or is it our way of life to be sort of bombarded by emotions, in a state of constant kind of overwhelm, wanting to sleep, wanting to rest, wanting to not do, wanting to be in the creative, imaginational, but not actually functioning, not getting things done at all, or barely functioning, barely in survival mode? Is there an over emphasis on the emotional and a lack of emphasis on the actionable, the mental or the thinker? Or is it the other way around? Is our mind super active? Are we always busy? Are we always moving around, running around, trying to get everything done? So many things happening, having difficulty juggling all of the things that are happening. Yeah. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Right? Always doing it, never taking time to be, never taking time to receive. Yeah. So is there an imbalance? I see this a lot. Like when I'm working with clients, I can see straight away whether there's an imbalance, whether there's a feminine upfront imbalance or a masculine upfront imbalance. A lot of times, I have worked with people that have a lot going on in their mind. Yeah. They have a lot going on in their mind. They have, for instance, um, this person gets laid off from her job that she's been working on for 30 years. Her beloved pet passes away within the same month or so. Her relationship is dissolving within the same month or so. And she doesn't know what she's going to do next. What am I going to do next? Where am I going to go next? Where am I going to work at next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And yeah, my answer to that, right? My answer to that is what next is you do nothing. You do nothing next. You sit down, you cry, you have a good cry, you grieve, you rest, you reevaluate, you meditate, you revision. You revision your life, you restructure your life. But in order to do the revisioning and the restructuring, you need to be quiet. You need to sit and receive. You need to make that connection with your spirit so that you have the guidance to inform you on what's next, so that you receive the impulse in your own being that tells you what would be most exciting to try next, where the path is going to open next for you, right? So we're talking about this imbalance of the masculine and feminine within. Now, in order to bring these guys back to balance within, so that you can really have that connection to your higher self and have that connection to your divine spirit, is to create a conversation with these two. Create a conversation with the masculine spirit, can create a conversation with the feminine spirit. And a beautiful way to do this is to take out a journal. To take out a journal and light a candle, because by lighting a candle, you're just creating sacred space. It's an invocation of sacred space and sacred ceremony. So light a candle, have a flower, a little vase of water, whatever. Make it real nice. Set aside 2 hours. 2 hours. You're going to talk to the masculine spirit. What's he all about? What's he thinking? What's he believing? What's his experience? What's he afraid of? And you talk to the feminine spirit on this side. What's she thinking about? What's she feeling? What is she feeling? What is she afraid of? What does she want for herself? What would bring her joy? What would bring him joy? Can they come together? What could bring each other joy? How do they feel about each other? Can we bring balance and harmony back to our own being by getting the masculine and the feminine within us to have a conversation? To have a conversation so that they can understand each other, so that we can understand ourselves better. Yeah. So I have been working on doing this for quite a long time, many years. Whenever I'm having an experience that's less than awesome, I go in and set the sacred space, and I create the journal entries, and I allow the voice of my masculine spirit and the voice of my feminine spirit to have a conversation with each other. And it's incredibly revealing. Yeah. So you're going to witness yourself. You're going to witness these aspects of yourself sharing whatever it is that they want to share. And you, as the light worker, as the star seed, as the walk-in, as the energy healer, you are the divine presence. You are the higher self, witnessing this conversation and mediating this conversation to resolution. And big things will happen, big shifts, big changes within. as you start to be the peacemaker of these two sides of the self that are having the feelings or having the thoughts or having the fears. Yeah. So the inspiration for sharing this with you guys today is that this past weekend, I had a conversation with my divine counterpart in the physical. Yeah. So the masculine spirit in another body, in a masculine body. And for those of you who know me on a bigger level, I am pretty intense. I am a pretty intense being. I'm a very strong woman, and my feathers get a bit ruffled when my independence is being questioned, or my behaviors are being questioned, or my way of being is being questioned, or whatever, right? Particularly by the close relationships in my life. So we were having a bit of a power struggle, and I was in defense mode. And I'll share the whole story. So I've been in this sort of like defense, prickly kind of defense mode for the past couple weeks. And I was like, oh, well, let's pick these Druid Oracle cards. Let me pick a Druid Oracle card for myself. And I got the Fire Dragon. And I was like, oh, I'll pick a Druid Oracle card for you. And he picks, and it's the dog. And when I looked at these two cards, the understanding that came over my being when I saw these two cards was like, I felt so horrible. I felt so bad, because I could see, it was like this full understanding came through me that I was being this crazy, intense fire dragon, and he was like just trying to be heard and just trying to be there. And I was scary. So I apologize. I apologize for hurting feelings with anything I might have said, or any impatience I may have expressed in the conversations and such and such and such, right? During the triggering. So I apologize for my behavior, and I apologize for not hearing him, and I apologize for not being in my presence and all of this stuff, and I apologize for any pain I might have caused through being so fierce. So that completed. And then we moved into this other conversation. And having received this information from Spirit through the Oracle cards, I decided to try a different I decided to try sort of like a different hat on. Yeah. And so what I did in this conversation this weekend was I chose to pretend in my mind that he was an actual embodiment of the masculine spirit within me that was trying to communicate to my feminine spirit within me. And so through the invitation of having a conversation, I held my center in connection to my higher self and my divine presence. I had my light body open, my Ranthia heart space open, so that I could maintain emotional neutrality and not get triggered by words, and not allow my feminine spirit to get triggered by words. So I was holding this really deep space of neutrality, and being super careful with the words that I was speaking back in return, and listening, deeply, deeply listening, so that my masculine spirit felt heard. And like I said, I'm actually speaking to my physical partner, my physical masculine physical partner here in this conversation, but I'm in my head addressing his communication as if it's coming from the divine masculine spirit within me. Yeah. So I decided to choose to work with in this conversation because we weren't getting anywhere going, like this. We weren't getting anywhere like this, trying to defend ourselves, trying to defend each other, defend ourselves against each other. It wasn't going anywhere. And so instead, I chose to be really open, and I began to enact the universal laws. I started to command the universal laws to come in through my being and through my light body and hold this space of love, forgiveness, truth, oneness, divinity, and all of these universal laws. And I was cultivating this universal law through my being, commanding them through my being as he was speaking and as I was listening, and everything changed. The entire demeanor changed. The whole conversation changed. Everything that was meant to be said, heard, and shared was conveyed in a super peaceful manner. And I was able to hold this space of emotional neutrality and heart safety for this person who means a lot to me, without getting triggered and without taking things personally, but also with being super clear on what my own feminine spirit is needing to be addressed, understood, heard, experienced. So it was a really amazing and beautiful conversation that could have gone in a very different way, but through intention and through being uber conscious, and I believe through the invocation of these frequencies through my being, all allowed the conversation to take a much higher level and exist on a higher plane and result in a higher outcome than had we just gone into conversation as Zara and Beloved. Yeah. So offering that up to you guys as some inspiration to play with, whatever level you're at in regards to your own masculine, feminine spirit, and also the masculine and feminine spirit being mirrored to us through the universal laws of oneness, through the universal laws of reflection in this mirror that is our life. Yeah. So I would absolutely love to have a conversation about this. So if you have anything that you would like to share about this, your own experience about this, any questions you might have regarding this, we totally invite you to write it in the comments and start a conversation that way, or to email me at zarastarchild@gmail.com. Yeah. If you want to create a conversation around this. Also want to let you know that our Awakening Your Light Body course is beginning in September. We're holding the doors open for 22 students for the year 2022, starting on September 22nd. And that's going to be starting soon. We're beginning a free introduction series, Introduction to the Light Body series, which will be beginning soon. And you can find that link in the comments or the descriptions and join us for some fun. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great night. Peace out, Star Nation.